Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego is gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
All right, if I could have your attention in the media center, we are now joined by our second place finisher, the number 18 M&M's Halloween Toyota, Kyle Busch. Kyle, can you kind of run us through the day? It all kind of seemed not as intense as we had anticipated, so kind of tell us from your point of view.
It was a good day for us, just had to make sure we had a solid day here to make sure that we got into the next round and being able to do a good job of that. So this is a 1.5 mile racetrack, which is Texas and Homestead. So it's important to be good at these places, especially here, I feel like, because it's getting more similar to Homestead, closer to there. And, of course, also with just Texas being a fast 1.5 miles, there's some tendencies that are similar. But good day. We had a great race there at the end. We were trying to chase down Chase, and we were close. We got kind of there, and then just the car died out, just didn't have any more to go. So I was afraid that was going to happen, but good day for us.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions, starting with Bob.
Bob Parkhurst, ESPN. Were you surprised at all that Chase was able to seem to improve so much during the race? And also, can you kind of handicap
Bob, do I care about the 9?
Well, you should if he's...
Why?
Because he won here... And if that means that he won here and you're racing 1.5 miles, that makes him a
okay.
That makes him a contender, right? If I look at this race,
okay. He was really good here when we tested here, so we knew he was going to be a force to be reckoned with. He didn't feel like he was going to be here before the race. I spoke with him a little bit, and he was kind of leery about how his car was, but I told him that he was going to be fine. It looked like our cars were still really similar to one another and just as similar as they were when we tested here together. So it didn't surprise me that he was that fast. I don't think it was necessarily us getting our cars better throughout the race as much as it was that track position played a role. It just seemed like it was so hard to pass once everybody got around the top and was rolling the wall.
All right, we are also now joined by the third place finisher, Kyle Larson, driver of the number 42, McDonald's Trick, Treat, and Win Chevrolet, and also special guest, Owen. Kyle, kind of the question I asked Kyle is kind of take us through the day in general. So yours is significantly different than his, so kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, it was a good race for us. We were really loose. The second run of the race, and we just kept tightening it up until we got it to a good spot and where I could run the wall comfortably. So, once I was able to move up and have some sort of security up top, I was better, but still just too loose for the short runs. But about halfway through the run, I would finally tighten up and I could go better. But track was just so fast. Even the runs where I felt like I was good, you just can't make up any time because there's everybody's quick, and then when you're fast for somebody, you just get stuck. I held Kyle up for like 100 laps, just running hard, and I think the cool conditions just made it kind of tough to pass today.
Any questions on the floor? Go right there to Pat, and then up front to Todd.
Pat Ticola, NASCAR.com. For either of you guys, how would you describe the intensity and the pressure that comes along with this playoff format?
I guess, I don't know, maybe not in his position because he's got so many bonus points, but for the teams that start the playoffs with not many playoff points, you're already at a pretty big deficit to those guys. So that you have to be perfect, and stage points are so important. And that's just kind of where us as a team weren't able to get really any stage points. We didn't have any stage points until today, and only one stage out of the 6 stages we gained points. So can't really expect to make it to the next round without being up front all race long. that's kind of where our round went wrong.
Go up front to Todd. Sorry, Kyle.
Todd Engel with the KC Star. Kyle Larson, you had to come from all the way back through the field. Did that sort of change your mentality or make you more aggressive when you know coming in you had to get out of here with a win to advance?
I don't know. I mean, the races are so long. You don't do anything out of the ordinary when you start in the back. So, quiet. So, just try and take it. Be patient. Coming from the back like that, I was able to be aggressive and get to about 15th or so pretty quickly, and then you're starting to get to the faster cars that are hard to pass. But was able to get a couple good restarts that helped us out, and then a couple decent green flag pit cycles too that helped us out. So I don't know. It's not like it's a short race. We have to be crazy aggressive. Hey, quiet.
Go to Bob.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Kyle, are you disappointed? Are you angry? What's kind of your feeling? You've been kind of knocked out in several different ways, but today we're coming in where you knew it was going to be a little bit of a Hail Mary or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually glad that nothing stupid took us out of the playoffs this year. We had that battery come out at Dover a couple years ago, blew up an engine here last year. So, I mean, obviously I would have liked to have made it into the next round, but I'm glad that it wasn't anything other than just us not performing where we needed to be that kept us out of the next round. So just try and figure out how to make our cars better and try and figure out this new package that we're running next year and try and be prepared and be good all season long.
Kyle Busch, since I cut you off, did you want to answer Pat's question?
I'm good.
All right, we'll go back here to Nick.
Nick Brown, Yahoo Sports. Kyle Busch, you said you needed a solid day here, obviously, to advance. Once you knew you were locked in after that second stage, do you get more aggressive at all? Do you feel a little freer, knowing that, hey, I'm advancing no matter what? If something stupid happens, I can go for it?
No, we just ran a pretty typical race, and our car was there. And, like Larson said, it just once you get rolling around the top, it was just so fast that it was hard to go anywhere else on the racetrack to make passes and make moves and stuff. So, when we tested here, a month or so ago, we tested the top a lot because we knew that was kind of going to be a place to be. And I felt like we were one of the best cars up there all day long. But the problem is when you get to the next guy in front of you and you're running the top and he moves up in front of you, there's nowhere for you to go. You can't dive bomb to the bottom and your front tires are used up. So I was trying to, when I came off pit road, I was trying to race nice with the 42 and save my stuff a little bit. And then once I got by him, I still tried to save my stuff and not go rush to try to get up there. And it just didn't materialize anyway. So the 9 just had way too much of a gap on us that we couldn't overcome.
On a follow-up to that, if you would have gotten to the 9's bumper, how would you have been able to pass him? Did you think, okay, I've got to try to go down low or hope he makes a mistake and I can slip past high?
I don't know. Too many people will hear me, and then I won't have that surprise factor again, so I can't tell you.
All right, fair.
I have no idea.
Do we have any questions upstairs?
Might have been come down to lap cars. Who knows?
In the press box, do we have any questions?
No questions.
All righty. Well, thank you guys. If I could have your attention in the media center, we are now joined by our race-winning crew chief, Alan Gustafson. Can you take us, let me say the car number. The car of the number 9 Mountain Dew Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports. Alan, just kind of walk us through the strategy to hold off the 18 and just kind of recap the whole race for us if you want to.
Yeah, sure. We tested here, I guess, about a month ago, and we had a really good test, and we're able to get some speed out of our car over the long run, which was really our strength. So we knew going in that short runs probably weren't going to be our forte, and certainly throughout the weekend, qualifying and practice, that showed up as our weakness. But we felt like over the long haul we'd have a really good car, and the longer laps that we'd run, the better we'd be. So kind of the start of the race, we had a few short runs, and we actually made a little ground there, and then had an issue on a restart when the 1 in the 17 stayed out, so we got backed up, lost some track position. But as we've got green flag runs, we had the speed to kind of drive through there and executed really well on pit road, good pit stops. Certainly that hurt some guys today. Got to 10, 41, I guess. We're able to get up to the front and hound the 4. We're able to pressure the 4. I don't know. Certainly it would have been hard to pass him, with him having the lead in clean air, but we were certainly able to put a lot of pressure on him, and ultimately he sped, and from there I felt like it was our race to win. We weren't looking forward to a caution there at the end. We knew that our car wasn't great on a short run, so fortunately it didn't come for us. And then it was just kind of, there's a little risk reward. You can run up against the fence and gain a little bit of time, but if you miss it like the 12 did or a couple guys did today, you can certainly damage your car. So at the end we were just running a conservative enough line that we can make the speed to stay in front of the 18 but not ultimately get into the wall. So it's a really good day, executed well, everybody did a great job, and ended up getting the win.
Absolutely. We're going to open up the floor and start with Todd.
Todd Engel with the KC Star. Were the wins just a matter of time, or was there some sort of eureka moment here this season that you just sort of, the team figured things out and everything sort of fell into place?
Yeah, I think we weren't, at the beginning of this year, we certainly weren't in position to win any races. Maybe Phoenix, the speedway races, but in intermediates we weren't very good. So I think the way we performed in 16 and 17, certainly I felt like we should have won some of those races and were capable of winning. And then this year, we just weren't very good to start the season. So a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. Sometimes been through this long enough that sometimes when you're down and not running well, if you can make enough gains to get back in contention, you can be an advantage because I don't know if it's just the fact that you appreciate it more or the fact that you struggled and know what it's like to kind of be on the bad end of it. So fortunately, we were able to get the cars good enough, and the pit crew's been awesome all year long, and we've been able to put them together. So I think it's always a culmination. You have days like today that you're like, man, just seems like it all works out, and then there's days that you have really fast cars that you don't seem like you can do anything right. So I guess it's just kind of the hard work and everything coming together.
We'll go over to Bob and then RJ.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Can your experience in the playoffs and in championship runs and hunts that you've had in the past help at all over the next 4 weeks?
Well, I'd like to think so. I'd hope so. I mean, certainly from my perspective, it does. There's no replacement for experience. When I was young, it's like, well, experience. What's that do for you? Then you kind of go through things and you realize, yeah, it's a big deal, because I've lost my fair share and I've won my fair share. So it's as you go through that, you kind of know what works and doesn't work, and you can help apply it and use that to your advantage.
We're going to go around the other side of the room to RJ. Over there.
RJ Kraft, NASCAR.com. With the strong run you guys have been on late for the better part of 2.5 months, and Chase's pretty good history at the next round of 8 tracks, how would you assess your guys' shot to move ahead to Homestead in the championship 4?
Well, I think it's getting better every day, so that's a good thing. The 5 points certainly doesn't hurt. The 18 and the 4 have a pretty significant point advantage. So as well as they run, getting past them via points is probably a stretch. I mean, it's possible, but probably a stretch. Before the race, I felt like we were going to have to win one of those 3 to move on. I don't know that my opinion's changed a lot. Certainly going to have to be in contention to win one of those 3, but I think we've got a good shot at it. I mean, Martinsville's a track that I personally have had a lot of success at, and Chase has done really well here as of late. We weren't good to start when we started working together. I think we've kind of figured some things out. So I look forward to that. Texas, we've not been good at since they've reconfigured it. So this certainly makes me feel a little better about that. And then Phoenix is good. I think it's probably one of our better tracks, and we've run really well there. So, close to winning it last year, finishing second in the fall race. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of them. But, as we all watch it, right? I mean, anything can happen. I just sitting here thinking about, leading Martinsville 4 laps ago and then not pitting and spinning and wrecking and all those other things that happen. So, and then with Chase wrecking. So, it's going to be a crapshoot. But I think we've got a good shot.
We're going to go right up front and then to Dustin.
Jonathan Field, theraceexperts.com. Hendrick Motorsports, of course, you guys have had a steady uptick in performance throughout the season. What has been a watershed weekend or a breakthrough weekend for you guys, and what can you take from this weekend going down the final 4 races?
There's never, I know it seems like it's, kind of a light switch, but it's never a light switch. It's always a lot of incremental gains and a little bit of work. And, throughout the season, we at the intermediate tracks, we'd struggle to run 15th, and we kind of got better in 10th and 8th. And, in Vegas, we were pretty good and unfortunately got crashed. But I don't think there's one moment that I can say was the turnaround. It's been coming and hard work. And we've got an amazing group of people that work at HMS and certainly great resources and a great boss. So if we get an opportunity and a little bit of time, we can make some things happen.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I've got a couple questions out. You talked about how testing helped you here. How was it determined that your team was the team that came here for the Hendrick organization to test? Was that something that you guys wanted, was gifted to you, or how was that process that you ended up here?
I don't remember. I remember I wanted to do it. And we kind of worked through it. I can't remember exactly. 48-1 in Richmond, which I've tested there too many times and not helped myself out, so I didn't want to go do that again. And I just remember wanting it, and it worked out. We're not. We basically just deliberate and have conversations over what would be the ultimately best for the company, and somehow along the lines it worked out where it was for us.
And obviously, you've been back to Martinsville since last year, and you kind of referenced what happened to last year. You've been in this sport so long, you know how fleeting great opportunities can be. How last year finished, does that get harder as time goes on as opposed to easier because of how tough it can be to get to Homestead, as you found out, and how good of a chance and how close you guys were? And does that come into your mind as you now start to look ahead?
Yeah, I don't think that it changes my opinion, but I do think going through situations like that and opportunities that get away, you go through enough of them and then, hit a dry spell like we had hit. It's like you certainly appreciate those opportunities. And when you get chances like we've got now, where we're putting all facets of our race team together really well and running really well, to get everything clicking and working all at one time is really the hardest part of the sport, and we've got it going. So, we've got to take advantage of our opportunities, and we had it going last year too. Like you said, that circumstance happened. But, I don't look at that and feel like we were slighted in any way or there was an issue or woe is me. It's just basically hard racing, and that's kind of what you expect when you go to that place. And those possibilities is what really makes that place special, and it's really sweet when you win there.
We're going to go to Jenna.
Jenna Fryer, AP Allen. 2 questions. The first is, how did you guys do this in this season that the Camaro seemed to lag behind. Hendrick didn't seem to have what it has in the past. How did the 9 team break out of that at this critical stage of the season?
I think we had struggled. Things weren't going well. I got suspended. Josh got suspended. I got suspended. We had to make some personnel changes, and we just got to a point where we all, I don't want to say it's rock bottom. I don't think that's accurate, but it's the best way I know to kind of describe.
A low point.
Yeah, a low point. So we got there, and then from then on, what I've seen is every person, without a doubt, willing to do whatever it takes to perform, and working really hard, and working, 8, 9, 10 at night, and continuously trying to improve, and not, I felt like so far behind that we didn't feel like we could turn our nose up on any potential gain, no matter what it is, anything. So over time, we've accrued these small little incremental gains. And, it just stacked up to be really good. And then I think through that, the team has seen with that commitment that when you get the results, and I've been on both sides of it, I've had that kind of commitment, and you just kind of fall short of getting the results, and then it's hard to sustain it. But as you get the results with that type of commitment, then it's like nitrous, it's just adding fuel to the fire, and it's just reiterating that we can do it, reiterating that the hard work does pay off, and that kind of snowball on itself.
Now that Chase has won 2 out of 3, 3 out of 11, is he the kind of guy that he just can't be stopped?
Well, he doesn't change, and I think that's, it's just part of his personality. It's interesting to me. I certainly think that, mentally, I always feel like when you're in a situation, right, whatever it is, if you're shooting a foul shot or you're hitting a golf shot or racing a car, like when you come up to the foul line, is your mind saying to yourself, I'm going to make it or I'm going to miss it, right? That psychology is a huge part of success. And as you get confidence and wins and you make foul shots, when you get to the line, you're going to make them. And I think I don't feel like his personality has changed, but I think now when he looks at that opportunity, he is looking at it more, yes, I can do this, than the 100 things that can go wrong. Sure.
I'm going to go right back here to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. I want to ask, you brought up the suspension, and kind of wanted to ask this earlier in the year and forgot about it, but from a crew chief's perspective, there's a mindset out there with fans and some probably in the media that it doesn't really affect you guys that much because of radios and the communications and technology. How does that feel from a crew chief's perspective, and how big is that setback?
Well, I just can tell you my personal opinion is it sucks. It's terrible. I've done this. This is my 14th year, and the first time I was suspended was last year, right? Went 13 years with them never having to deal with that, fortunately. And it's not something I like being a part of. It's not good in any way. It's a tough thing to deal with. Certainly, can the team overcome it and the car's performance overcome it? Yes. And is there ways that I can obviously still contribute? Yes. But, from a personal point of view, it's professionally, it's about as bad as it gets.
Do we have any questions upstairs?
No questions.
All right, we'll go to Jenna and then Dustin.
Does it hurt you guys at all that you're the only Chevrolet?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I don't know. I don't think so. You obviously, you look at the odds and you say, well, that would make you think it's a bit more difficult. But I don't think it's going to hurt us too bad. I've seen, in some situations, racing teammates is tough. When I don't know exactly who's in, but I'm assuming a lot of Stewart-Haas cars are in. Okay, so those guys are going to have, right, they can give each other no quarter, right, at all. And that's a hard thing to do. And that's a hard thing to kind of balance in my experience. To move on, you've got to, just full throttle hammer down. And then if you get into a riff, which is going to happen with your teammate, it's tough. It's a tough situation. So in some ways, I think it can be an advantage for us because it is difficult to balance it when you're all kind of infighting against each other.
Go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You talked earlier just about for Chase and just the momentum in the sense of having the success and building upon that. Obviously, we know he's always been hard on himself, and I'm sure obviously as a crew chief you think that's a great quality because he's wanting to learn. But how have you seen him get better in certain situations? And was it the case this year where maybe that confidence wasn't there because of not having that win, not having that success? Maybe early in the year not having that car where you guys were talking about struggling with and not having maybe the confidence to do certain things. How has that kind of evolved? Has that been more so in this last 12 weeks, or has this kind of been a progression?
I think it's been a progression, and like I was trying to describe, if in my opinion, what he was driving earlier in the year was probably, in his Cup career for sure, it's the worst cars he's driven. So when he had to make do with that, and I felt bad for him at times, I'm doing everything I could do, but I wasn't giving him a good enough car, and he had to go and deal with that, and it's a struggle, it's a battle, right? So I think that he learned as he went through that, he's learned, and that's helped improve him, and you may pick up certain traits or certain attributes about tracks or different circumstances, or and this isn't exactly correct, but running the fence, right? If you don't have a car that's very good, I mean, that's a way you can make up some time is put yourself at risk and run it right on the fence here, right? And that those are the things that I think he had to do earlier in the year that he may not have had to do earlier in his career because we were able to give him a much better race car. So I think as that's happened, he's improved, and the pit crew's been great all year. And now we've gotten the cars much improved. So all those things adding up. And, the confidence is, it's just, he is hard on himself. And I think it's a good thing, like you said. But there's times that I think he's realized no matter how good you are, you can't do everything 100% right 100% of the time. But it's probably worth your time to focus your effort on the things that are going to yield the most results, right? And put the time and effort into that and being really good at those things. So, I think he's learned how to, what is within a reasonable realm of expectation for him to do.
We're going to go back upstairs for a question in the press box. Do you guys still have a question up there? All right, well, we'll come back down to Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Beyond the wins, do you feel more of a championship contender now than in mid-August or the 1st of August?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The speed in the cars, for sure. I don't feel there's from August to now, there's a huge change in him or, anything else besides we've gotten our cars much better.
All right, our guys upstairs do have a question, but they're having technical difficulties with their mic. Trying to get them to ask it now. But in the meantime, do we have any other questions? You got it?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There it goes. Okay.
Thank you. Alan Lee Spencer with the Racing Boys. You have been with Hendrick for so long. You've seen the highs and the lows. What you're seeing right now from Stewart-Haas Racing, Can you compare that to, the glory days? And I'm not saying they're over at Hendrick, but I mean, when you guys were at your high point, what they've got going right now, is that organization, pretty stout competition?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really comment on, I don't know the ins and outs of what they do, and certainly their performance has been really well, and getting all 4 cars in, and all 4 cars through lots of rounds, all of them have won. That's a huge accomplishment, and I think that they've done a good job of getting to that position, and certainly kudos to them for it, and it's something that we're aspiring to get back to, and for as difficult as the year started, I thought getting 3 of our cars in was good, and really should have transferred on 3 to this round, but a wheel hop away from that. So, and I think that would have took one of them out or close to it. But I mean they've got it going on. There's certainly formidable competition, and I look forward to racing them and seeing how it all shakes out.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go right up front.
Jonathan Field, theraceexperts.com. You and Chase have been in championship contention, of course, this year and last year. In the previous years, you've been in contention with Mark, Martin, and then Jeff Gordon as well. Talk about just what is it like working with someone like Chase, who is a 3-year driver in the series, as opposed to someone who's a veteran well into the career?
Yeah, I think it's I've been really fortunate to work with some fantastic guys, and cherish the time that I had, and Kyle, Busch also. I don't think we actually got crashed here. I think we were in a good position to have a shot to win a championship, and got in a crash here. Still finished 5th that year, but it's personality, and it's driving style, and it's lots of contributing factors, and they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, and each one of them do it a little bit differently. It's super hard to say, hey, this guy's any of them are better when you're talking about Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott. I mean, that's like 0.001%, right? I mean, those are really the top of the top. So I've learned from all of them. Each one of them have had taught me lessons that I think will help and will help me move forward. And I certainly, throughout my years, if there's something I learned with Kyle, I conveyed it to Mark, and something I learned from those guys, I conveyed it to Jeff, and then I try to convey all that to Chase. But yeah, their personalities and how they go about business and how they get it done. But certainly they're all, in my eyes, Hall of Famers and champions.
All right, we're going to go right here in the center.
Matt Lunsford of Manhattan Mercury. Jeff was on the pit box. Can you kind of speak about what that's like to, having him as a driver, but now having him on the pit box with you guys?
Yeah, I love it. He's, we're great friends. I mean, he's one of those guys. He gets me, and he knows what I'm trying to do. And in those times, he's doing everything he can to support me and the race team and Chase and nobody knows it as well as he does. So it's just fun, and it's even if he doesn't say anything, which he didn't say much today, it's just nice to look over there and see him. And when at times there's a little bit of tension, he'll make me laugh or just do something. He's a special character, man. He's a really cool guy, and I like being around him regardless of the circumstances. But I love it when he comes, hangs out with us.
Do we have any final questions for our race-winning crew chief? All right. Well, congratulations, Alan. And,
thank you.
All right. If I could have everyone's attention in the media center, we are now being joined by our race winner, Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Chase, congratulations on your 3rd win this season. Just kind of give us a little bit of a summary of your day and how it was to get that checkered flag.
Yeah, it was a really fun day. Felt like we'll leave that alone. Felt like Friday and Saturday were kind of decent and wasn't real sure about today, and started the race, and the car drove really nice, and we're way closer to the competition, I thought, than what we were yesterday, which was encouraging. And felt like if we could, get some track position and get in front of some of those guys, I felt like we'd have a shot. And obviously got lucky with Kevin's misfortune there. I wish we could have raced him straight up to see, who was better. I felt like we were fairly close to him that second to last run. I'm not sure how hard he was trying or not, but obviously being behind him, I was working pretty hard to try to keep up and just be close if an opportunity arose. And luckily it worked out.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open up to questions and start with Jonathan.
Chase, Allen was in here and said he thought you guys had a good shot at Martinsville, thought you had a good shot at Phoenix. Texas was iffy. You've had a chance to think about the round of 8 since the win at Dover. Do you think you have to win? He seems to think you guys have to win to advance to that Final Four.
Well, I think that needs to be the mindset for sure. I mean, I think every week has to be pressure-packed. You have to keep the pressure on yourselves because – if you were to make it to Homestead, you have to pretty much win Homestead, So I think you have to have that mentality every week. The points game is nice, I guess, to play, but really you just need to care about winning. And if you're trying to win and putting yourself in position to win, that's way more important than just barely trying to squeak through. So having the ability to win and do it weekly and putting yourselves in those positions week by week is the most important thing. And if we can, do that these next 3 weeks, I think we can give ourselves a chance. Texas, since they paved it, I would say has been the worst one of the 3. Martinsville has been hit or miss, terrible. My first couple trips, had a couple good runs there last year, was back pretty bad there again this spring, so it's been really hit or miss. Phoenix had a good run there in the spring. Texas has been really bad since they paved it. So, just because you've had recent good runs at those other places doesn't mean you're going to be good when you go back this time. But I think that I agree with him. I think Texas has been the worst one of the 3 as of, late.
All right, we're going to go to Jerry and then Nick and then Bob.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net, Performance Racing Network. We all know the story of Hendrick and where they were and where they've come to now. Obviously, with you getting your first win, it's been kind of like you've been on fire since then. And then with 2 wins in this round, moving on to the Elite 8, did you think that this would be how your season played out when it all, either in the beginning or obviously, but throughout the middle season or after your first win? Did you think this would be happening?
Well, I felt like as a team we were capable of winning and doing it often. I felt like I believed in my ability to do so, and I believed in my team's ability, Alan's ability, and our pit crew and the road crew and the whole deal. I mean, that's never really been a question mark in my mind. We started the year and we were pretty bad. I felt like pretty off on speed and struggling with handling and trying to get our cars better, and I think we've got them better. I don't think we're where we want to be or where we need to be, but I think we're better, and I think that the performance on track has just put us in positions to capitalize. And that's been the difference. And we've been just been in position more often. And if you can keep putting yourself in position, I think those are great places to be. Does that mean you're never going to make a mistake again? No, but I think that you can go and run well and run like we've been running. I think we can have a shot legitimately. Yeah. It is, but just because you ran good this week doesn't mean next week's going to go good. But yeah, momentum's nice. I'd rather have it than not have it, but still at a pretty big points deficit behind the 18, the 4, and some of those other guys. So, if we just keep running with them every week, I think we'll, like I said, I think we can give ourselves a chance. That's all you can ask for. So we're going to keep the hammer down and try to keep as much pressure on as we can and just see where it plays out.
I'm going to go to Nick.
Nick Bromberg, Yahoo Sports. How much of a win, or how much of a confidence boost is this win, knowing that it potentially, and also, is it potentially the biggest win so far of the season for your championship hopes, knowing you have Texas and Homestead coming up, and you can beat guys straight up at mile-and-a-half tracks now?
Yeah, like I said, I wish we could have raced Kevin for it, straight up there at the end, and him not have his misfortune. That was, to me, that was, a nice goal to have. Obviously, I think he's been the class of the mile-and-a-halves throughout the year, but just to run with him, be able to pace him lap time wise and be within 10 car lengths of him trying to get by him, I thought was very encouraging. So I'm encouraged by that. Kansas is very different from Homestead, so very different racetrack. Texas is also very different. So, I look forward to the next round. Definitely a big win. They're all big. I mean, the road to Watkins Glen was so hard. And then the past couple months being like they've been, it's kind of surreal, but you just have to appreciate them. I mean, you don't know when or if you're ever going to win another race. So I'm going to be as excited today as I've been. I'm going to enjoy it as much as I enjoy Watkins Glen or Dover. The only difference is we go to Martinsville in 4 days, and it's game on again.
Bob
Pockris, ESPN. Beyond the wins, how much more of a championship contender do you feel you are now compared to August 1?
Well, I mean, like I said, from a mental standpoint or a team standpoint, I don't think we're any different. We haven't done anything different approach-wise since I've been at Hendrick or Alan and I have been working together. The difference has been going through some tougher days, having some learning experiences and making our cars faster, and having those learning experiences along with making our cars better, to me, has net better results. So I think we have just as good a shot as anybody, and that's our approach these next 3 weeks.
We'll go over here to Jonathan.
Jonathan Field, theraceexperts.com. Having come so close so many times in 2016, 17, and now having won 3 races, what did you take today, or what did you apply to today that you've learned from those near misses and also the 2 wins this year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, those pressure-packed situations, the only time you can learn from them is to be in them more often. And I think that's as simple as that. Just putting yourself in position more is going to keep the pressure on more. And the more you're comfortable with that, the better off you're going to be for it. So, those guys that you have to beat are in those situations about every week, and they don't mess up. So you better be in them and not mess up is kind of the goal. So we'll see where we end up.
We'll go back over here to Nick.
When Kyle and Kyle were in here earlier, they said how tough it was to pass out there. If Kyle Busch got closer to your bumper, do you think you could have held him off, knowing that he would have had to go so far low and get past you?
Yeah, I mean, there was some time being right up against the wall, and they were obviously catching me doing it, and Kevin and I had a lot of success the run prior running the lane that I was running. And obviously there's a big penalty with hitting the wall, too. And I had run up there some throughout the day, hadn't done it a lot, but I felt like Kevin and I were making pretty good time doing the lane that I was running. So I was pretty committed to it, and they were making some pretty good time on me. I was fixing to move up, and the 11 hit the wall right in front of me, and I thought that was the sign to not do it. So I stayed where I was and kind of stuck to my guns, found a little something those last 2 or 3 laps that I thought was a little more consistent. And I know the 42 was pestering Kyle, but I thought I found a little bit of pace there. I don't think it was as much pace as that was on the wall, but I think it was better than I was bleeding out, the handful of laps before that.
Go over here to Ryan.
Ryan Black with the Manhattan Mercury. Chase, when Alan was in here earlier, he mentioned he didn't remember exactly how you guys got the test here last month, but that obviously it worked out today. I was just wondering, how much from that test did you actually apply today? How much did it matter versus had the conditions changed enough you kind of had to throw a lot of that out the window?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think generally, the trends of the racetrack and things it was helpful to be here a few weeks ago. I think there were a couple of decisions that factored into our setup today that we probably wouldn't have done if we hadn't tested here a few weeks ago. So ultimately, I think it was a good thing. Anytime you have a chance to come run in a place like this and a challenging track that the lane moves around, that's a great place to come test. The places where it's one groove and you're on the same place all the time is kind of a waste of a test, in my opinion. But coming here, we moved the groove from the bottom of the racetrack to the wall in the matter of 2 days. So I thought it was very valuable, and they're not all tests are like that.
I'll go right here in the center.
Dylan Sherwood in Puerto that Chase, how much has Jeff Gordon told you about this track with him being a multi-winner here?
Yeah, we've talked about every track, I think, a lot. And Jeff's been a great mentor of mine, and he's been a great friend, has become a great friend the past couple of years, and proud to still have him coming to the races and the support that he gives me. So, we've talked about it a lot. I feel like he believes in me, and all you can ask for from a leadership role or somebody, one of your superiors is confidence in you and belief in you, and just try to let me go do my job.
All right, do we have any questions in the press box?
Yeah, Brian Eberle, Motorsports Tribune. Chase, you finally got that breakthrough win at Watkins Glen, obviously on a tear since then with the 3 wins. Do you feel that was more of just a monkey off your back sort of deal, kind of getting that pressure off with that first win, or is there anything specific you can kind of point to that's increased the 9 team's performance over this past
Yeah, I mean, certainly nice to have got a win. Obviously, Watkins Glen very different from Dover and here, but I definitely think there's been some mental confidence that grew from Watkins Glen. Certainly didn't hurt, but I think just on track performance and just making our cars better and things has probably been the biggest thing to help us run better and put ourselves in these positions. So, we still need to go, in my opinion, and go and dominate a race or dominate some races. We were felt like a contender today, which is what you want to be, but you want to go and dominate these things, and that's certainly, I think, within reach. And that's the goal, is to go and try to get out front, not let up.
Dustin
Long, NBC Sports. I've got a couple questions, Chase. You talk about wanting to dominate, or just talking about even putting yourselves into position. You did that again today, but this was another race this season where somebody who led the most laps didn't win the race. It's something like 2 of the last 20-some races, the guy who led the most laps actually won. Why are we seeing that disparity where you talk about domination but not seeing that with leading the most laps winning the race?
Well, it's a hard thing to do. I mean, racing for 400 or 500 miles, it's hard to do and be out front and not mess up. I mean, I think it's as simple as that. Like we made mistakes throughout the day. The only reason you weren't talking about it is because we weren't leading. So, I mean, that's the big thing. When you're out front, everybody's watching you. And when you make mistakes, they're emphasized because everybody wants to talk about it, So when you're not leading the race, mistakes happen all day long. But, just trying not to make them towards the end, I think, is the big one. But these next 3 weeks, in my opinion, aren't going to make. There is no room for mistakes in these next 3 weeks. So, we just need to be on our game in all aspects, and I look forward to the challenge.
And as a sports fan, you understand the term when somebody is a playoff player, or somebody who picks up their game in the playoffs, and certainly does it. We saw that with you last year. With you guys really picked up the performance with all those runner-up finishes. Seen it again this year. What makes you that prime time playoff performer, or become that type of performer, especially these last 2 years?
I mean, I don't know. I think just cars being faster and we kind of got lucky. I feel like with throughout the years been a learning process for all of us, and I think we've gotten better throughout the season. And I think it just so happened that as we've improved, the season goes on, right? So I think that is a piece of it. Obviously, I think my team in particular does a great job of just really paying attention to every detail that they can, especially at this time of year. And I give a lot of credit, in my opinion, for picking up performance these last few weeks to Alan, and I give him the same credit as last year when we picked up the performance. And we had a great run at it last year. I know it didn't seem like it, but we had a lot of second-place finishes, an opportunity to win a couple of those races that would have put us in a similar position to what we're in right now. So that confidence and ability to do that, in my opinion, has been there when things are going good for us and when on-track performance is there. So we just need to keep putting ourselves in the position that we were in today, run inside the top 3, try to be battling and contending for the race lead, and I think opportunities will be there to move forward.
You're going to go back up for an additional question upstairs.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Chase, did the experience of having gone through Dover last year with Kyle chasing you at the end for the win, did that help you today in terms of just putting that experience to use?
Yeah, it certainly crossed my mind for sure. I thought it was an opportunity to be in the same position again and to show that you can handle that situation. So more to myself than anybody. So I was just glad that the opportunity arose, to be honest with you. And it wasn't easy. And I think those days you learn from and you're going to get better from more so than the days that you have a 5-second lead and you're out there to go win the race. So I've really enjoyed the pressure of the Dover restarts and the closing laps today and the Martin Truex racing for the win at Watkins Glen. I mean, that's been a lot of fun, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be easy, and it's not an easy thing. So it's way too hard to win these races to not appreciate them and enjoy those moments.
Go to Ryan.
Chase, does it feel like you win 2 out of 3 races in this round? Does it feel like to you that you guys sent a statement to the rest of the field, or is it like you kind of said when the points reset, now you're only 3 points ahead of 5th? It's almost like, well, it's kind of a statement, but it's kind of rendered irrelevant with resetting the point.
I mean, it's nice for sure. Great to have some momentum, but at the end of the day, it does reset, and you kind of have to just go back to work. And I think that you just have to have that mindset and keep the pressure on yourselves individually as a race team every week, and try to kind of keep your mindset in that must-win situation, because at some point you're going to be in it, whether you get into a bye in this round, or if you are able to make it to Homestead, that's pretty much a must-win as well. So I think being okay and enjoying those moments throughout the playoffs and throughout a race season is going to do nothing but help you, because at the end of the day, if you are able to make it to Miami and race for the deal, it's a must-win down there, in my opinion. So, I think every week has to feel like that, and the environment that you put yourself in amongst your race team and the environment that I put and Alan puts our race team in needs to feel that way every week.
Do we have any final questions for our race winner? We'll end up right over there.
Brad Williams, SpeedwayDigest.com. I apologize if this has already been asked, but as we move to 4 races left in the year, what are some areas you'd like to improve on between you and your crew?
Yeah. Well, I think just honestly everywhere. I mean, this is a sport, especially nowadays, where you really can't struggle in any area and expect to win. So you have to really be on your game, I think, in all aspects. So we need to take every area and amp them up a little bit, in my opinion. And I don't think it's one thing or another. I think it's everything, because everything matters.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks.
This is WFO Radio.